Hi, this is Chris Young. Welcome to episode 111 of Contemplating a Life, Oscar edition. In this episode, we continue our look at Oscar-nominated films. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get this episode out before the awards were given out on March 15. Anyway, in 1979, Steve Martin and Bill Murray performed a sketch on Saturday Night Live that has since become a classic. They stared off into the distance beyond the camera, pointed, and repeatedly asked, "What the hell is that?" All right, here's a clip.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What's that dang thing doing here? How did that get here? What the hell is that?
I didn't want to include the entire sketch to avoid a copyright violation, but I've provided a YouTube link. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing. The reason I mention it is that phrase, "What the hell is that?" very nearly expresses what I felt after watching the 4 nominated films we'll cover in this episode. Let's start with the worst. The Secret Agent has been nominated for Best Picture, Best Foreign Film, Best Casting, and Best Lead Actor, with Wagner Moura portraying the film's protagonist, Armando. It's set in Brazil in 1977, during a period of military dictatorship that lasted from 1964 to 1985. The film is entirely in Brazilian Portuguese, with English subtitles. It was nearly an hour into the film before I had any inkling of what it was really about. Initially, it's just a guy driving through Brazil. He eventually takes a room with a landlady who's part of an underground resistance movement that provides shelter. They describe it as a kind of private witness protection program for people who have somehow come under fire from the brutal government. Armando is a widower whose young son is being raised by his late wife's parents. He reunites with his son, and with the help of the underground, is attempting to take the boy out of the country to escape persecution. In a series of flashbacks, we learn he was a professor who held a patent on an advanced lithium battery. When he refuses to negotiate a license with a powerful oligarch, he becomes the target of the government. I never was sure if the bad guys killed his wife or if she died of some illness. He told his son that his mother died of illness, but I got the feeling that was just a story. Suddenly, in the middle of this film, set in the late 1970s, we see an iPhone. This scene is a flash forward showing a college girl researching Armando's story as she transcribes audio cassette testimony he gave to members of the underground. The film is peppered with extraneous subplots that I presume were included to give you a feel for what life was like in Brazil in the 1970s. To demonstrate how ridiculous these subplots are, there's a story about a group of marine biologists at a university who are doing an autopsy on a large shark, and they find a severed human leg inside. The story blows up in the newspapers and spawns a ridiculous urban legend about a big, severed, hairy leg that goes around kicking people. In other words,
What the hell is that?
this slow-moving, bizarre story eventually builds to a climax as hired killers close in on Armando. The result is a highly unsatisfying ending, with an epilogue that returns to the college researcher and at least wraps up her story satisfactorily. By the way, Google searches provided a variety of explanations of why the film is titled The Secret Agent, when our protagonist is not involved in espionage. None of those explanations were satisfactory for me. It's something symbolic, but I didn't get it. In addition to the Oscar nominations, it won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Film and Best Actor in a Drama. IMDb lists 159 nominations and 85 wins. IMDb says it had an estimated budget of 27 million Brazilian real, or about $5 million US. The worldwide gross is listed at $16.4 million. Its runtime of 2 hours 41 minutes only adds to the reasons that this one is not worth your time. However, if you're curious and want to try to figure out what the critics saw in it that I did not, it's available for streaming on Hulu. Next, we explore another film about an underground movement of revolutionaries. Paul Thomas Anderson directs and writes the dark comedy action film One Battle After Another. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Pat Calhoun, who goes by the nickname Rocket Man. He's the bomb maker for an American far-left revolutionary group called French 75. The film is sort of an alternate history, or takes place in the near future. It's not quite the world we live in, but it's close. Tiana Taylor plays his lover, a black woman named Perfidia Beverly Hills. Together they raid immigration detention camps, freeing prisoners. While liberating one such camp, she sexually humiliates the camp's commanding officer, Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw, brilliantly played by Sean Penn. Later, he catches her attempting to plant bombs in the building, and he agrees to let her go if she'll have sex with him. She becomes pregnant with his daughter, yet Pat believes it's his. Pat tries to get Perfidia to give up her revolutionary ways and settle down to raise their daughter. But she refuses and continues her terrorist activities until she's caught for the murder of a security guard. Lockjaw arranges to have her enter witness protection if she'll give up information on other members of the revolutionary group. She does rat out some of her people, but then flees witness protection and is never seen again. Pat and his infant daughter flee to a sanctuary city in California, where he takes on a new identity as Bob Ferguson. We skip 16 years, where we find Bob living in a small rural house off the grid. His daughter Willa is a high school student. And now we come to the
What the hell is that?
moment. Lockjaw is invited to join a secret white supremacist group called the Christmas Adventurers. It's a group of rich white businessmen and politicians who worship Santa Claus and greet each other with a salute and Heil Santa. Lockjaw is concerned that if they ever discover he has a mixed-race child, he won't be eligible for this secret organization. So, using all his resources as a federal agent, he tries to track down Pat, aka Bob, and his daughter. When he discovers their location, he comes up with an excuse to lead a massive military operation on this small sanctuary town that's also harboring a large number of undocumented immigrants. Surviving members of the underground movement get wind of the raid, and they rescue Willa, who's at a high school dance with her friends, just as the troops move in. They attack Bob's cabin, but he escapes through a tunnel and rushes to town to try to meet his daughter. He's assisted by Willa's karate sensei, who is a community leader, played by Benicio del Toro. Bob is told that the underground has taken his daughter to safety, and he can meet her at the rendezvous point. When he calls the network to try to find out where that rendezvous point is, the person on the other end of the line insists that he answer a code word question. Bob's done too many drugs over the years and can't remember the organization's protocols. What follows is a comedic chase involving Bob, Willa, Lockjaw, and an assassin that the white supremacy group hired to kill Lockjaw when they figured out he had a biracial child. I would have titled the film One Ridiculous Thing After Another. Again, we have a 2 hour 41 minute runtime, which seemed a bit excessive. But the climax moves along quickly to a poignant and satisfying ending. I hate to admit it, but I kinda liked it. I don't believe it's worthy of all the hype it's been getting. The performances are top-notch, and I think Penn's portrayal of Colonel Lockjaw was memorable. He won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for it. I certainly would not have nominated it as a Best Picture. Unfortunately, the Academy didn't agree with me. It's nominated for 13 Oscars, and it won 6 of them. For Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay by Paul Thomas Anderson, inspired by the novel Vineland by Thomas Pynchon. It also won Best Supporting Actor for Sean Penn, Best Casting, and Best Editing. By the way, Penn did not show up to claim his award. I don't know if he had other commitments or he just didn't want to come. The other Oscar nominations were DiCaprio for Lead Actor, Benicio del Toro for Supporting Actor, Tiana Taylor for Supporting Actress, Cinematography, Sound, Original Musical Score, and Production Design. It was nominated for 13 BAFTA awards and won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Cinematography, and Supporting Actor for Sean Penn. It received 13 Critics' Choice nominations and won Best Picture, Director, and Adapted Screenplay. From its 9 Golden Globe nominations, it won Best Picture Comedy, Director, Screenplay, and Supporting Actress for Tiana Taylor. It was nominated for 7 SAG Actor Awards, and Penn won for Supporting Actor. Overall, IMDb listed 493 nominations and 280 wins. Its estimated budget was $130 million. It grossed $72 million in North America and $209 million globally. It's available on HBO Max and can be purchased or rented digitally on Prime Video and other platforms. Now, while we're discussing films about fighting fascism and evil, I want to call your attention to a film, Nuremberg. I fully expected it to be an awards favorite, but it earned only 17 nominations and 4 wins from minor awards organizations. Oscar, Golden Globe, and BAFTA all ignored it, and I was shocked. It stars Rami Malek as Dr. Douglas Kelly, a psychiatrist who's tasked with evaluating Nazi war criminals during the Nuremberg war crime trials. Russell Crowe plays Hitler's second-in-command, Vice Marshal Hermann Göring. Michael Shannon plays U.S. Associate Justice Robert Leach Jackson, who presided over the war crime trials. In my opinion, all 3 gave memorable performances worthy of award nominations, yet the film was overlooked. And there were numerous other supporting roles that I thought were excellent as well. With an estimated budget of $12 million, it earned $14.5 in North America and $43 million globally. It's currently available for streaming on Netflix, and I highly recommend it. Let's move on to our next pair of bizarre films. They'll leave you asking,
What the hell is that?
Our next film is yet another with a title that seems to have no relationship to the subject matter whatsoever. We're talking about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Rose Byrne stars as a psychiatrist named Linda, who's in worse mental shape than many of her patients. She's under the treatment of another psychiatrist played by Conan O'Brien in his first dramatic role. While not a mental case himself, he certainly is incompetent as a therapist. Linda has a young daughter who has some sort of eating disorder and requires overnight feeding through a G-tube to supplement what little she eats by mouth during the day. Linda's in a constant battle with the girl's doctors and insists that the G-tube be removed, but the doctors say she's not ready. Early in the film, their apartment floods due to a water leak from the upstairs apartment. It leaves a giant hole in the ceiling of Linda's bedroom. She and her daughter are forced to live in a nearby motel until the repairs are completed. However, the repairs are taking weeks. Her husband works as a cruise ship captain and is gone for weeks at a time. Somehow, this hole in the apartment is symbolic of the hole in Linda's life. She suffers from hallucinations about the hole. These hallucinations will leave you asking,
What the hell is that?
Throughout most of the film, I began to wonder if the apartment really was damaged or if she just imagined it. There was also a strong possibility that supernatural forces were involved. But ultimately, I concluded it was just depicting Linda's mental illness. The hole was real, but she exaggerated its impact. Throughout the film, the camera never shows the daughter's face, as if Linda never looks her daughter right in the eye, until the very end of the movie. The ending is as ambiguous as the rest of the film, so don't expect any resolution. Rose Byrne gives a powerful performance that is definitely worth the nomination. Unfortunately, to see that performance, you have to watch a very bizarre and confusing film that got no other nominations. In addition to the Best Lead Actress Oscar nomination, she also earned nominations for BAFTA and Golden Globes. Now, the Golden Globes split their awards between dramas and comedies/musicals for both films and performances, and they listed this one as a comedy. Certainly it's surreal and bizarre, but it's in no way humorous or satirical. If anything, it's a dramatic exploration of mental illness, as well as the stress of having a special needs child. IMDb lists 78 nominations and 35 wins. With an estimated budget of only $1.5 million, it made only $1.6 million worldwide. It's currently available for streaming on HBO Max. The performance was great, but I can't recommend the film. Our final bizarre journey reunites director Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. I greatly enjoyed their most recent collaboration on another bizarre film, Poor Things, which received multiple Oscar nominations 2 years ago. In their new collaboration, Begonia, Stone plays Michelle Fuller, the CEO of a pharmaceutical conglomerate, Oxalith, who's abducted by conspiracy theorist Teddy Gatz and his autistic cousin Don. Teddy's mother, Sandy, previously participated in a clinical trial for an oxalate drug that rendered her comatose. Teddy has come to believe Michelle is a member of a malignant alien species known as the Andromedans, who are killing Earth's honeybees, destroying communities, and forcing humans into subservience. Believe it or not, we are not at the what the hell is that aspect of the film yet. That doesn't come until the ending. Teddy is brilliantly played by Jesse Plemons, who should have been nominated. Aidan Delvis, in his first feature film, is also memorable as the artistic cousin. The director chose to cast someone with no previous acting experience, who was neurodivergent, and it paid off. The duo holds the CEO hostage in their basement. They shave her head and slather her with antihistamine cream to prevent her from communicating with her fellow aliens. You know, like you do. The plan is to hold her hostage until an upcoming lunar eclipse, in which the mothership will arrive. Then they expect her to take them to their emperor so they can negotiate the withdrawal of the aliens from Earth. They torture her with an electrical device, and when she is able to tolerate high levels of current, Teddy concludes she must be part of alien royalty. where it treated to an amazing battle of wits between Teddy and his hostage, who tries to negotiate her own release. The film appears to be a deep exploration of corporate greed and mental illness of an out-of-control conspiracy theorist who manipulates his autistic cousin to support his bizarre activities. The story takes many unexpected twists and turns along the way that make for a very compelling drama. Emma Stone earned the Best Leading Actress Oscar nomination. As I said, Plemons should have been nominated. He did receive a BAFTA nomination as lead actor. Both gave amazing performances. The film is nominated for Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, and Score. Overall, IMDb lists 133 nominations and 10 wins. On an estimated budget of about $50 million, it earned only $47 million globally. It's currently available for streaming on Peacock TV. I would highly recommend this film for its brilliant performances and thought-provoking themes. However, there's a problem. Fans of this podcast might recall that last year I reviewed the 2022 Mel Gibson film On the Line. I thought it was a great film up until the ending, and then I reported that the ending would make you extremely angry at the writer and or director. The ending ruined what was otherwise a pretty good psychological thriller. Well, the anger and disappointment I felt about the ending of that film is nothing compared to my anger, hatred, and disappointment about this film. I'm going to wrap things up for this episode, but if you're curious, after my usual closing, I will spoil the ending and tell you why it ruined an otherwise brilliant film. In our final installment of this series, I'll cover the remaining 4 Best Picture nominations, one of which was a nice film, but it didn't really appeal to me. The other 3 were amazing, including my choices for Best Picture and Lead Actress Oscars. So as always, if you find the podcast educational, entertaining, enlightening, or even inspiring, consider sponsoring me on Patreon for just $5 per month. You get early access and other exclusive content. I'm not in this for the money, but every bit helps. As always, my deepest thanks to my financial supporters. That means more to me than words could ever express. Even if you can't provide financial support, please post links. I just want more people to hear my stories. All the back episodes are available, so check those out. Give me comments, questions, feedback. Let me know what you thought about these films. I'll see you next time as we continue contemplating life. Until then, fly safe, everyone. Okay, spoiler time for Begonia. Do not proceed unless you want to know how the film ends. You were warned. It was all true. The woman really was an alien. Cutting her hair and covering her with cream really did prevent her from communicating with the mothership. As predicted, the mothership arrived during the lunar eclipse. When she tried to beam Teddy up to the mothership, the bomb vest he was wearing exploded. In the final scene, the alien leadership is discussing what to do about Earth. They conclude it isn't worth saving, and they destroy all human beings on the planet, leaving only the peaceful flora and fauna alive. Not only did I feel betrayed as an audience member, it also completely undermined the significance of the film as a whole. I suppose the aliens' arrogance is not dissimilar to the corporate greed the film appears to be about. However, as an exploration of mental illness or ridiculous conspiracy theorist, it completely falls apart, because Teddy wasn't crazy. It wasn't a made-up conspiracy. He was right. He was pretty much sane. It wasn't really about a mental breakdown of a man whose mother was put into a coma after participating in a trial of an experimental drug. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good plot twist or a surprise ending. However, this was totally ridiculous. It's like the filmmaker was saying to the audience, fuck you. My recommendation is you watch the film for the amazing performances and for what you think it explores, and then just ignore the ending as a bad joke that didn't land. So anyway, that's it. Meanwhile, fly safe, everyone.